Hey, welcome back, folks. Are you ready for another action-packed episode of Building Sago? This one, something very special. We got some filleting, we got some tabbing, we got some fiberglassing. We're going to do some gluing, we're going to do some screwing, we're going to do some sanding of course, and then we're going to install the bow pulpit forever, for good, permanent. It's not coming off. Not in my lifetime. Are you excited? I am. Let's get on with it. Come on.
Well, this is a good way to start any one of my videos, folks, with a little daily dose of sanding. So once this little section is over, we'll be through with that pretty much. So if you want to skip ahead, I've included chapters in the video, and you can go ahead and skip it. You've all seen me sand stuff before. Nothing new here. The key to getting good tabbing on a joint like this is to have a nice clean surface in which to work. We have to sand it to give the epoxy something to hang on to, some mechanical grip, and as well as getting rid of any lumps or bumps or warts or ripples or whatever may be in the fiberglass underneath. This is again my standard wood flour, cabosil, and epoxy glue, and it makes great fillets. If you play with the consistency, you'll get it right, and it won't sag and it won't droop, and it just works really, really well. The fillets here look a little lumpy, and there's a little bit excess, and there's some that I haven't scraped off, and it doesn't really matter because I'm going to be laying down the fiberglass tape over top of the wet fillet, and what will really happen is when I roll out the glass, the roller will define the radius of the fillet. I always mix up more thickened epoxy than I can use, or that I know I'm going to use on a project like this. And the excess that you see me scraping off into the cup, I don't waste it. I always have a spot on the boat where I can bail out and use it somewhere, and that somewhere is in the forward cabin right now, where there's still some filleting and taping and tabbing, etc. that has to go on. The fabric that's being used here is standard 1708 biaxial fiberglass tape, and these corners may be potential failure areas, so by the time I get all the glass tape laid on, there will be about 4 layers in each corner. I've let this section of the video run at normal speed so you can get an idea of how long it takes to actually do this kind of work, and depending on the complexity or the size, it can take quite a while, especially if you want to get it done right. You can see here where the roller is already starting to define the radius of the fillet, and it's a pretty easy way to do it, and it's one of the great benefits of working wet on wet. There's going to be 3 layers of fiberglass in this particular tabbing, and that's going to add a great deal to the strength of this part of the boat. When you think about some of the forces that can be applied to this little bulkhead from the bow pulpit, should you end up in a situation where your anchor stuck and you're trying to pull it off, or you're topping out on a wave and the anchor chain snaps, this part has got to be very strong, and I think I've done it the best I can. There's also 2 layers of 17-ounce tabbing on the inside. The 3rd layer of fiberglass that goes over this joint will be put on last. It's a 10-ounce plain weave, and it will totally encapsulate the whole forward deck as one piece. These inside corners can be a little bit tricky to get them to conform to the 3 sides. So what I do is I cut a dart into the end of the tape and make like an envelope fold in it, and it allows the tape to fit right into the corner. So here comes possibly the worst Peelply application I've ever done. This was really messy for some reason. I have a real love-hate relationship with Peelply. Sometimes it's necessary, sometimes it's not. Oftentimes I usually find myself ended up sanding the whole surface anyway, so I don't really know why I bother. This is the one thing I really like about Peelply, ripping it off. I apologize for the fan noise in the background. I tried to tone it down as much as I could, but it was hot in here. I really needed the fans that day. Gluing down the Foc'sle deck has been like the focus of all the work that's gone into this Foc'sle deck project since the beginning. And again, I'm using my standard epoxy, wood flour, cabosil glue, and I mean the whole boat is held together with this stuff, and I think it's pretty tough. Here we go, the last time I will ever have to put on or take off this stupid Foc'sle deck again. This was pretty satisfying getting this glued down. I'm using Craig screws to temporarily fasten the Foc'sle deck to the framing underneath. They're great. They've got a flange on their head. They drill their own holes, and it makes doing this kind of thing really simple and easy. So next up, we're going to tab the Foc'sle deck to the hull, and we have to do it on the top. I can't, or I wouldn't be able to reach through the holes and tab it properly from underneath, and well, there's battens in the way down there. I've just slit a piece of 6-inch 1708 tape right down the middle to give me two narrower pieces to tab to the hull. The forces that could be applied to the bow pulpit and transferred to the Foc'sle deck will be a lot like a lever, where the fulcrum is at the very point of the bow, and that would be a downward force placed on that by the anchor chain, and let's say that's 1 foot long, and the rest of the bow pulpit, which is anchored to the boat, would give it about a 3-to-1 advantage in strength. And I don't ever see this coming off. I would probably break the anchor chain first. This is the last piece of fiberglass tape that's added to the Foc'sle deck, and this basically is just tying the horizontal to the vertical, and that's it. That's all the glass that's going on here. Just wetting out that last piece of fiberglass tape here, but you can see how much fiberglass has actually gone into securing this structure to the hull, and I think it's going to be plenty strong enough. Just a couple of little snippets of glass here, just to reinforce these joins on the side of the hull and make them a little easier to fare in later. It took some time to think through the whole process of installing the bow pulpit, and the mental calisthenics caused me no end of grief. But in the end, I tried to be as careful as I could and figure out where all my bolts were going to get clearance for the nuts and washers below, etc., and how I was going to fix it to the Foc'sle deck. Just taping off the pulpit here because I'm going to use some Sika 291 to seal the perimeter and all the openings that go through the pulpit and into the decks below. The bow pulpit requires some bedding. That's a material that will take up minor imperfections in the flatness of both the Foc'sle deck and the bow pulpit itself. And because I want the bow pulpit to be removable if it ever has to come off, I've decided to use mastic tape. This is just a natural rubber tape that's used everywhere. It kept the windshield in my great grandfather's 1927 Model T for almost 100 years, so it's got to be good stuff. Well, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. All the work that's gone into this little custom Foc'sle project in Bow Pulpit over the last 3 or 4 weeks is finally coming together. The Bow Pulpit will be fastened to the Foc'sle deck with 6 3/8 inch galvanized steel carriage bolts. And I probably would have preferred maybe something like stainless steel, but I couldn't source them locally. So these will have to do. And again, they can be changed in the future if need be. I was actually quite amazed how easy this thing was to put together and fasten down. It was remarkable actually, because not all my projects go that way. Have you hugged your Bow Pulpit today? I did. I love my Bow Pulpit. This is the Sikaflex 291 that I mentioned earlier, and this will seal up the entire perimeter of the Bow Pulpit and hopefully keep any water from getting in between the Foc'sle deck and the Bow Pulpit itself. Look at this Muppet using the old finger method to smooth out the 291. What a goofball. Here's the anchor roller going on. As you can see, I have no more room in my shed because it goes right to the roof of the shed. And the last two bolts that go through the anchor roller will actually help secure it to the Foc'sle deck below. There's that giant bald head again right in the middle of the picture. Some of you may have noticed it's a lot less scruffy now than it was a week ago. It's really satisfying getting to attach things to the boat that are permanent. These little milestones really mean a lot to a boat builder. Most of the time, progress is very slow, and working hard towards these little successes is what keeps us going. We're inching ever closer to our goal of 1,000 subscribers. As of this recording, we need 35. Once we hit our 1,000 subscriber goal, we're going to give away to one lucky subscriber a small gift of our appreciation, and in order to win that, you have to be subscribed. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Good luck, everybody. I've included a link in the description for this video. It will take you to a playlist for all our YouTube videos. Click that link before you go to bed and let it run. We're about 1,000 watch hours short of making the magic 3,000. So until next week, from Laurie and I, please stay healthy, safe, and happy. Cheers.